It's time for a new Split the Difference. I'm your host, Jesse. Today we have with us the Pitchmaster General, Seth.
I'm here to talk about Kaiju and Kaiju only.
Yes, only that. And the horror whore, Hope.
So it's not related to this episode, but I was rewatching the Suicide Squad, and all I could think about was, we got a motherfucking kaiju over here.
I just rewatched that recently too. It holds up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Nice.
thankful for all the Kaiju in film lately.
Man, well, now that Superman Legacy has started production, another year, man. And we get to see a good Superman in theaters again. Thank God. Please.
You think
Please don't fuck it up.
You think he's gonna fight a Kaiju? I bet he does. We need Superman versus a giant monster, man. We don't get that.
You got it for about 20 seconds in The Flash.
Or, like,
That hurts, man.
Yeah.
I would take a Galactus in Marvel any day.
Right? Exactly.
Apparently, that's rumored to be what they're doing for Fantastic Four. That's rumored to what they're doing.
Sure.
It's still Silver Surfer and Galactus. We'll see.
Sure.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, we're talking about Godzilla. The original film from 1954, directed by Ishiro Honda. Man, I'm really going to screw up the names of this one. Okay, versus the 2016 remake Shin Godzilla, directed by Hideaki Ono and Shinji Higuchi. So, now that I got the names out of the way, let's say it out the gate. It's Godzilla. You know it. There's 30 movies of this. We all praised Godzilla -1 last year. It was in my favorites of the year.
Oh, good.
It was so good. The Godzilla is still going strong to this day. It's one of those franchises that just will never go away, and I'm happy about that. This is a very malleable character. He can be the villain or the hero, the original film, and this remake, he's the villain. So it's nice to see where it came from.
Right.
So everybody's history with Godzilla. Let's get it out of the way right now. Hope, let's start with you, the horror whore.
My history with it, it's been a history. Like, my grandmother lived in Japan during that era. You know, I was like basically raised by her. I'm like the reincarnation of my grandmother. So like everything Japanese, I'm like all about. So I don't know. I just love it so much, and I've been I've skipped here and there. You know, I have not seen all 80,000 Godzilla films,
Oh my
but
God.
They're not all
you know,
good. They're not all good.
exactly. So I mean, but I've loved it since day one. It's great, and just like you said, we all praised -1. You know, I still follow all the like modern iterations, like
Absolutely.
the Apple TV series Monarch, and you know,
Is that wrapped up? Is that still going? Is that wrapped up now?
season 1's done.
Yeah, season
Okay.
1 just ended.
Okay. Was it yay, nay? Yes, I haven't watched it yet.
Starts slow, gets real good by the end.
Yep.
Okay.
It's it's good. It's better than the other American iterations that have been coming out.
Yeah, I can't wait for Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
Hey, you're the one boasting about the 30-minute just kaiju shit.
I mean, after seeing -1, part of me is like, it's not going to be as good as that. It's not. I mean, I'll watch it for the schlockiness. I'll probably get real drunk watching it, but it's not one I can really just cathartically enjoy. So, Seth, what about you? History with Godzilla.
I was at my grandmother's house visiting one afternoon and was sat in front of the TV to be left alone so they could go chat as adults. And I think it was Return of Godzilla, the 84 film, was on cable that day.
I think that's when they started the fresh timeline. That's when they there's like several different eras of creators that have done Godzilla.
Yeah, exactly. So my little eyes went bug-eyed as I watched monsters life-size to the size that I imagined them in a movie, and I have been hooked ever since. My older brother made it a point to make fun of the fact that it was just a guy in a rubber suit and that it shouldn't be scary. And I just need to say, as a filmmaker now and an adult looking back, Michael, you were a fucking asshole, dude. You were so stupid. You were so wrong. Oh
You're an
my
asshole.
God.
And by the way, just to jump into the remake Shin Godzilla, that's a guy in a suit. It's a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
They just enhanced it a
Also-
little bit with CGI.
Also, can I say, yes, it is scary because in the original, they nearly lost their lives wearing that suit because the temperatures wearing the suit went to like 130 degrees
It's
in
a
the
death
suit.
trap in there,
and,
man.
like,
It is a death trap.
It was insane. They were like, yeah, we thought we might have died if like we were left in that suit for more than like 5 minutes at a time. Like,
Yep.
so yeah, that's scary.
If you're wondering why Godzilla in the older films didn't appear very much, it's because the actors couldn't be in the suit for very long, so they'd have to find ways to cut around it. Now with CGI, you can have a 30-minute kaiju fight in Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire because it's not a guy in a suit in that movie.
Not an ad.
Not an ad.
Right.
Yeah. So, but let's start with the original film.
Well, let's start with your background, Jesse.
Yeah.
I've obviously watched a lot of these movies. I have not seen all of them. Obviously, there's so many. I mean, 30 movies. I could probably pick out the ones that aren't very good. The one where it's baby Godzilla shows up and is like hopping over his tail. It's like, okay, I think I can skip that one. I think I don't need to see that. I'm good. But then you get into like you said, the return of Godzilla, where it's the new era. They're restarting. God, what was the one where Rodan shows up? It's where they kind of remade that one with the King of the Monsters, the alien. There's several alien invasions that happen.
Yeah, the
original
80s era
film
really wanted to go into
they
outer
really pushed
space.
the alien stuff a lot in the
Well,
80s.
that was like the peak sci-fi era, though. That's why.
Yeah.
Yep.
Schlocky B-movie sci-fi
boy.
stuff. That was the big thing. Yeah, it was the big thing. But yeah, and I've seen a lot of the newer ones. Obviously, I've not seen Monarch yet. I'm going to get to it eventually.
You better.
I will. Maybe we'll do it too, whatever's on it before the season 2 drops. But yeah, going back to this original, I had seen this years ago. I hadn't watched it recently, and going back through, I was like, wow, this was like monumental for the time. And today you can look at it and be like, okay, it's a little cheap and chintzy, but back then, like, this would have been enormous on a big screen.
Yeah.
From the era, it's on Criterion Channel. It's one of the most important films ever made. It's critically important to cinema. And anybody says, "Oh, Godzilla is really stupid," it's like, no, this is a monster film that's actually about something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about the nuclear devastation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the fallout afterwards. Obviously, a metaphor for nuclear deterrence. The remake of Shin Godzilla, it's about the what was the name of the power plant meltdown? Was it Fukushima? The Fukushima power plant meltdown in Japan. It's clearly about that. Obviously, there's even visual imagery that looks exactly like it. Yeah, these two films are about human history. They are about something.
Well, they
can't really say the same thing about King of the Monsters.
Well, you can look at all the documentaries too
Oh, yeah.
about the filming of Godzilla and how, they wanted to make something amazing. They brought so many new technologies together. It was ahead of its time. They wanted to say something, and it was so good. They put so much thought and effort into it. It was. They were like, oh yeah, well, when we crushed this, we wanted to look like that. So they were like, when Godzilla was trampling areas, they're like, they want to be able to say, oh yeah, that was that city we were talking about, and people could see it, and it like helped people be like, oh yeah, that is us, that is our town.
Yeah, even the imagery of when Godzilla's in Tokyo and he's using his fire breath, and he's blasting people on the street. It looks like when human beings get hit by a nuclear blast.
Yep.
That was all practical effects too.
That was all practical effects as well, which is, it's just everything's practical. That's like just showing what you can do with almost, you can do an actual Godzilla movie like that in that style in your basement today. It'd be so easy to do it. Yeah. But the original film compared to the remake, I mean, is it strange that they're almost like 1-to-1? It's like
I I
It's kind of bizarre. They're almost 1-to-1 in some ways.
so it's funny we bring up -1 at the beginning of this because
That's almost like a pseudo remake of the original with the
Yeah.
World War II stuff shoved into it.
Right.
right, it's like it's an embarrassment of riches because to me, just before -1 came out, Shin Godzilla was the end of the flat circle of Godzilla for me, where like the first film is so fucking serious. It is
Yeah.
it is a monster movie and it is meant to look like the B monster movies of that time. Shit that you would go to the drive-through to go make out and watch. You know what I mean? Like these weren't to be taken seriously.
Mhm.
Movies
And-
with giant ants and shit like that.
Yeah,
Like,
like
yeah.
they weren't meant to be taken seriously, and Godzilla says, "No, this is going to be serious because we're going to make it about something serious."
Yes.
And from that point, Godzilla diverged, and every once in a while, you'll get a serious Godzilla, and you'll get a WWE SmackDown with monsters. And
Yeah.
look at the way it completes the circle as we get up around to Warner Brothers just takes over the WWE end. They say we will do the
Mhm.
SmackDown entertainment. Don't give a fuck about these characters. We're going to hire actors that you like looking at and they're going to do a really fine job. And that's that. And then we're still getting movies like Shin Godzilla that is like you're saying about something still fucking serious meant to be taken at face value seriously. It was the end of the perfect loop. And then Godzilla -1 comes out and goes, "Hey, guess what? You could just have more because it's Godzilla and you could just always have more." I
Yeah.
love it. It's perfect.
Yeah. It's an easy character to work with if you know what you're doing.
Side note: black and white -1 definitive edition. I was lucky enough to get into theaters to see that. It is even better in black and white. Like
Yeah.
the black and
I
white pairing with this original film.
I saw clips of it in black and white, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could have seen that. Like,
They will release that on physical in 4K, and that will be
oh, I'll be
absolutely
buying
worth
that.
buying
I
it.
will be
I'll be
buying
getting it
that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be getting
Merry
that too.
Christmas, everybody. That's going to be the Jaguar Sharks office present, I think.
Oh, much appreciated. So going back to the original film, one thing I would say is a bit of a negative. I would say also with the remake, the characters it's more about how society reacts. It's
Right.
not the characters are a little on the thin side.
Mm.
It's that's my one
You mean
negative I would give.
our scientist with the eye patch is meant to be taken as a dark character? Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that they're just a little on the thin side. You know, I think
Well,
it's
it's also like Japan is more of a community than like in America. America, we want to stand out. In
yeah, it's a
America,
cultural difference. Yeah,
yeah,
it's more of a taste thing than anything else.
like they're
Yeah.
more focused on the message than like. See, I'll say this. So Japan didn't get main character syndrome until anime. I love the memes where it's like it'll show like an anime like still and it's a classroom and they're like, I bet you can't guess the main character and it's the one person with like the funky hair. Like
Right. Yeah.
like it Japan, like I said, they really didn't get like American main character syndrome until like crazy anime. So
And
but
that ended up
otherwise
being
it's
the
like
issue with so many Godzilla animes too. Is
yeah.
like there needs
Yeah.
to be this like main character, and it's like no, like show the community.
So that I think that's why like characters are very thin because they're more focused on like the message and like what's happening than like
Mm.
a main character.
Yeah.
I think about how much time is dedicated in this original movie to talking about science. Like it
Mhm.
is very
Yeah,
much
it's
trying to
people in
like
labs.
ground
Yeah.
itself. Yeah.
I mean the
Yeah.
main characters are all professors.
Yeah, the people you want to solve a problem like this, like they don't resort to the military right away. Like whereas in the remake, they go right to the military and they're like, "Oh, we'll solve this militarily," and they realize, "Oh, this isn't working."
And then they're like, let's get
Oh.
all the crackpots in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
immediately make a strike team with anybody that doesn't fit in with the government. I love that.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. I made the note. The original is about how civilization handles a catastrophe. The remake is about how civilization handles bureaucracy.
Ooh.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
so many lines in Shin Godzilla where they're like, oh, so much red tape. Oh, so much red tape. Do we have to keep having meetings for every 5 minutes for each plan proposal? and then they're like, oh, the prime minister died. And they're more focused on getting a new prime minister than like beating
Right.
Godzilla. Like,
Solving the crisis of the thing that's just like frozen in the middle of your city because it's out of energy.
right,
Like, let's worry about like putting the government back in power. Like, maybe get rid of this thing first.
right.
Like, that's a little more important. Yeah, it's
What a metaphor.
yeah. I mean, you can apply that to any civilization, like any government today. Like,
Dude,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
look at us right now. Like, Trump got into the White House on Drain the Swamp. That is literally the idea that things are at a standstill in the middle
and
of
the
our
opposite ended
cities.
up happening, and now it's worse than it's ever been.
Right.
Yeah. God, what a mess. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's also say, in terms of the remake, the timeline is a little bit unrealistic in terms of how things get done. You guys notice that?
I-
Like, immediately there's a strike team available to go look into Godzilla. It's like,
Not
it felt
necessarily.
weird.
If things can be rolled out really quickly if it's a true emergency.
Okay.
Look at how things happened with like world wars, like it was the fact that slowly more countries were getting involved, but like the militaries for the initial countries were there, already going, because it.
Yeah, I think about like how we as Americans dropped everything during the World Trade Center attack, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
just
Everything stopped.
everything stopped, and anyone that was available was in there like immediately. And I feel like it is not an understatement that the reason we have movies like Godzilla are to like anthropomorphize a disaster, right? Like
Yeah.
Godzilla is
Mhm.
just a disaster. um if we treat that the way we respond to disasters in real life, like a fire or a hurricane, we have people that go straight in with their boats during the hurricane to get
Yeah.
people out. Like I think the unrealistic part is that it's implied that the government is able to respond this quickly, and not that like there's people as the first
Yeah.
responders. And I think that's
I
what
was
-1 goes out of its way to show us
yeah,
too.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Yeah.
like perfect example is firefighters. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they respond within seconds. They're there within minutes. They bust in, not knowing the situation basically, and just go. It's and so I think that's like the perfect example of handling the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. The remake Shin Godzilla, there's that moment when they're prepping for the final attack on Godzilla when it's frozen in the middle of the city, and they're gonna inject him with all that was it the coolant? They're gonna try to freeze him.
Yeah.
And they even say there's a chance you might not survive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's directly related to the Fukushima power plant disaster. There are people that went into the power plant to shut it down, and they knew, yeah, we're not going to live, but we have to shut it down to save the country.
Yeah.
They knew they were going
Same
to
thing
die.
with Chernobyl type of deal. They're
Yeah.
oh my god, yeah.
Yeah,
Gareth
Chernobyl, like
Edwards
that.
even makes that part of his opening in his original Godzilla film too. Those first 10 minutes
Yeah.
are about that response time.
Mhm.
Yeah, shutting down a disaster by people sacrificing themselves.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this God, and also I want to note the pacing of both these films. The original, it's quick. The remake is lightning fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original moves at a good pace. The remake moves at a holy shit Bugs Bunny on crack pace.
It does. It's going like Energizer Bunny. Like
Yeah, they pack a lot of movie into that movie, man. There's a lot in there. I was like at the halfway point of the movie. I was like, this movie's got to be wrapping up. Oh, there's an hour left, but I wasn't upset. I was like, yeah, I'll take more. Yeah, sure.
yeah, I would check the times, not because I'm like, oh, whatever, but I'm like, wait, this is still go. Like I was like, okay. I was the same thing. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the remake has a great sense of documentary filmmaking to it. It feels like you're
Yeah.
right there on the ground. Like those shots looking up at Godzilla, when just like the size of him, the scale of him. Hope's
Okay.
laughing. What's happened?
No, can I just say I love first form derpy as fuck Godzilla and Shin Godzilla.
Yeah. Oh,
I love him so much when his eyes are like, brr, and like,
Looks
Lexi
like a
was
chick-
and with
disgusting.
like
She
no
couldn't look.
arms, with no arms, just crawling. I was like, I love this baby so much.
Yeah,
Looks like a chicken with no feathers.
I love him so much.
Oh god.
he's adorable. He looks borderline edible. Like if they had killed him, then you could have eaten Godzilla. You know?
He looks like the cutest roadkill.
s-
I love
Wow.
him so much.
I love the way the way they get the underneath shots of him so close up that we really get like a feeling for the texture of him as well. Like he looks
Yes.
soft.
Mhm.
He looks squishy.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's my Christmas present this year. Get me like a fucking life-size like plush of Derp Godzilla.
Hell yeah.
I'm sure it exists somewhere.
I need
Someone has to have made it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Jesse. It's funny you point out the documentary style of the film too in Shin Godzilla. That was directly because of the budget. I found it funny
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
for all the budget talk on Godzilla -1, and that was not an expensive movie. Shin Godzilla
This
was
had
made for
less.
about half
Yeah.
the cost of -1, and I think it borders like reaching the same scale. Like they don't feel inferior to each other. They both
No,
feel like
not
they
at all.
accomplished that huge Godzilla nature to it. So it's kind of shocking how cheap you could make a Godzilla movie for.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Just
think of
same.
the same
Yeah.
people made the Shin Kamen Rider. Just a
Those
couple
movies are
years.
so fucking good. I just watched 2 of them back to back the other month. Dude, he stomps out people's head like Jesse. You know how you're talking about the head smash thing? That's
Yep.
his go-to move. He just punches people's heads off. It's so great.
That became a thing for a while. The Shin version of films, like the new iteration, the modern iteration. It happened to a lot of various franchises. Yeah.
I would take a Shin Batman. Are you kidding me?
Fuck, man. There is a Batman anime, isn't there? I feel
Yeah,
like there is.
and it's
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
only
there
okay.
is.
Yeah, it's only okay. Okay. All right. But yeah, the documentary style of the remake, that feels appropriate for the time.
Yeah.
It feels like that's the kind of thing that should be presented, because this remake came out a year before King of the Monsters, and
Yeah.
what was the budget on that? Like 170 million, something like that.
Woo!
It's like, and it's worse. Like for all the budget that was put into all those visual effects, it's worse. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, I don't compare them anymore. In my head, anything Warner Brothers has done is like the WWE version, and so I'm happy that like they exist for clips online. Like if I was 10 years old, I would watch nothing but Godzilla clips like that on YouTube all day long.
Oh yeah, because it speaks to like I feel like it's it's just
There's a childlike
total-
wonderment to Godzilla.
Yeah.
right, and it's just total action, total. The way I see it is that you are 10 years old with your 2 toys, and you're like, "Ga ba ba
Yeah.
ba, ah ba ba ba." Like that's what those films are. It's just like a little kid with his 2 toys, like playing monsters. You know,
And
like-
it feels like a response to like a little kid watching the original and going, "Oh, this is boring. I only like it when Godzilla shows up."
right.
That WB made those movies. That's the movies they
Mhm.
made instead of like, "Oh yeah, we'll just put kaijus on the screen all the time." Then
Right.
that's what you get.
Well, that's what we're getting later on this year. So
We're gonna watch Lanky
wait.
Kong beat the fuck out of Donkey Kong.
Don't
It's gonna
forget
be
Baby
awesome.
Kong.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Diddy's in the movie too.
yeah. Technically, it should be Kratos Kong because he looks like Kratos now. So
God.
he's
God.
got armor and an axe. He's Kratos.
And then might as well shave his head and give him a beard. You know what I mean?
And just refer to his little baby Godzilla, baby Kong as boy.
He's
Boy.
Kratos.
God damn it. We're already starting with the puns. Fuck.
Fucking damn.
Listen,
Oh,
we're 25 minutes in. I can pun my way out of here.
oh, fuck's sake. All right. So the original film, going back to that, does it bother you at all that the effects are bad?
No.
No, the
Did you
effects.
say bad?
Well, I mean, not bad, but I mean, like,
Did you just say bad?
wrong choice of words. The effects look dated by today's standards. That's what I meant.
I think
love
that
it.
is their charm now. Honestly,
Yeah,
like
I
yeah.
love it.
imagine
You can see the wires carrying his tail and such. It's kind
Yeah.
of funny.
I-
Yeah, like,
imagine
it's
if
cute.
that was your movie. Like, how proud of that would you be?
Yeah. The tsunami where it washes away the small town and the little toy helicopters just sitting there.
Right.
It's like, I could do that in my basement right now.
Listen, and like it would be enjoyable. I bet people would love to watch it.
Yeah. That's great. But yeah, what's everybody's favorite scene from the original film?
That's a great question.
I love when he shows, like, when it shows her reacting to the chemical in the water and the fish just like dying.
That is a
Like the
great
horror, because it's not just horror to that experiment, it's horror to like, oh my god, you're releasing this technology into the world. It was
Yeah.
it showed the horrors of what technology, yeah, it's good for some things, but in the wrong hands, like, fuck, man. And that was the more horror part of it. I don't
Yeah.
know, it was such a pinnacle, like, apex point in the movie.
Yeah. It reminds me of that last scene in Oppenheimer where Oppenheimer's like, remember I came to you in my calculations, Albert? We had a theory we could destroy the world. And Einstein's like, yes, I remember. And Cillian Murphy's like, I believe we did.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's the words you go out on. And then he just has that vision of the world ending. It's like, well, good job, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's your legacy.
Yeah, these movies are talking about the same things. It's excellent.
Yeah.
I especially love in that scene, Hope, that hallway that they have to go down, and they kind of shoot from like
Mhm.
really voyeuristic, like they're going off into the secret place to learn this like Lovecraftian knowledge.
Yep.
It scared me as a kid. That scene like
Mhm.
that left so much of an impact. Rewatching it for this, I was like, as soon as I saw the staircase, I was like, oh, I knew something fucky's about to happen, and I just knew it. I didn't remember what it was, but like, god
Well,
damn.
you also, it gives, so like, I also grew up watching Scooby-Doo, and it gave Scooby-Doo vibes. Like, it's always down the
Yeah.
dark tunnel where you like meet the monster or the villain or whatever. So like, it's the same principle, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I'm gonna be
dark
simple
tunnels.
I'm gonna be simple and say that my favorite is probably the destruction of Tokyo, where it just they try to stop it with the power lines, doesn't work, and he just pounds through the town.
Yep.
It's just the simple, like, yep, this was the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, this was the bomb dropped on Nagasaki. It's very blunt and in your face, destroying the, and there's that silhouette shot of the entire city on fire, and it's just
Mm,
little tiny figure in the distance. It's like,
Mhm.
yep, just it's so simple but so effective.
yeah.
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 I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good that like we even see it parodied to this day. I think about Crank 2 just doing a Godzilla fight in the middle of it,
Oh,
just for fun. Exact same kind of setup. It's excellent.
Oh,
God, man.
jeez.
I totally forgot that scene exists.
Um,
Jesus.
I think for me, the discovery of the trilobite up through the first sighting of Godzilla by the professors.
Okay.
That sequence, that's an adventure movie. That feels like old King Kong. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're getting a lot of our inspiration from here. You just see Godzilla's head peek up above. They're like
Yes.
discussing if he's like, you
That
know, some
little
kind
like
of
boop.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a peek, just to see.
I do love the fact that the original version of Godzilla, the little mask has derpy eyes.
Oh,
Just kinda,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
going
yeah.
off
I
and-
know.
it just has derpy eyes.
It's
The
an
more
animal.
I'm
you know?
sure that was a mistake.
The more
No.
derp, the more I love it.
Well, that's the thing,
God
because
damn.
they were like theorizing that it might be some kind of like prehistoric under cave creature. Maybe they designed it to look off like that, you know, and it was just
Mhm.
kind
Yeah.
of weird. And then they go up over the hill and they see the footprints down there. That activates all the like Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, just all that adventure movie stuff in me. I love that sequence.
I mean, I'm sure that Michael Crichton, when he was writing Jurassic Park, I'm sure he had watched Godzilla and be
Oh,
like, yeah,
yeah.
I could do that. I
Absolutely.
could do that.
Absolutely.
All right. Favorite scene from the remake, though?
All right, I'm gonna go again, and I'm sorry to do this, but this is why I wore this T-shirt today. So I wore a Jinji Ito T-shirt because that last shot of his tail exploding out with like a committee.
He is defeated by a committee. In order to save himself, he begins to evolve, and he evolves into a committee, and they stopped him before he evolved so that they could... That's the cool thing they did with this version of Godzilla in the remake, is that he constantly evolves in order to beat out his competition.
I love that. I love
That's
the
brilliant.
evolution.
Yeah.
They had a trilogy planned where it was going to go like way off rails, it sounded like, but they were going to have
Yeah.
Godzilla evolve into like this hive being that was taking over planets. Um, I don't know if that was just like written up for pitch or if they had anything written. I found a YouTube video that was going into like how they had pitched the continually evolving Godzilla. It was kind of wild.
Why didn't they
Interesting.
continue that?
Who knows? Rights, maybe.
Yeah. Huh. That would have been pretty cool to see.
Listen, if it turned into The Expanse with Godzilla in space, I'm so here for that.
Strange. Yeah, that's a shame. It would not make a sequel to Godzilla, even though episodes. Yeah, it looks like the American-made Godzilla films were the thing that stopped it. This was due to Toho's contract with Legendary Entertainment, who are producing their own Godzilla films, that restricts Toho from releasing their Godzilla films in the same year as Legendary's Godzilla films.
Whoa.
So because
Fucking
of the
Americans.
rights, yeah.
So
Because of that.
Monarch came out last year, that was their opportunity to get -1 through. That's wild.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Hmm.
Damn. I would have taken another Shin Godzilla. I would have taken another one, but unfortunately we didn't get it.
Dude, let's get 1.3 billion yen together and do it ourselves.
Let's do it. What does that translate to American dollars?
8 million, something like that.
It's not that bad.
Dude, like that's about the budget we're going to be pitching for movies in the next 10 years. I'm like, that's right in our wheelhouse.
Hell yeah, man. All right. So, Hope, favorite scene?
So I have a favorite scene and I have a favorite line.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite scene, obviously, as I mentioned before, the first appearance of my
Derpy Godzilla.
Derpzilla.
Derpzilla.
I love Derpzilla. He's not
baby.
He's not Gojira yet. He's not Godzilla yet. He's Derpzilla. Like, he's the baby. And I love it.
I love how he's like wandering through the canal, like just kind of like stumbling around.
I just love it so much. I just
so
really do.
It looks so dumb.
But I love him so much.
Oh god.
I don't know. I just love it so much. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, when he like transforms so cool." I'm like, no, just give me Derpy, baby.
Right.
That's all I want. But so my favorite line though in the movie is when one of the after they've assembled like their crackpot team of like misfit scientists and shit.
Oh yeah.
When the female one, she goes, "I'd rather face Godzilla now than all those people." I was like, you were
Great.
speaking my language. I'd rather face the giant creature than face one person. Because I'm like, one of my things I say to people when they're like, "Oh, are you gonna go to like the state fair or whatever?" I'm like, nah, it's too people-y out there. And I'm like, but if they're like, "Oh, Godzilla's out there," I'm like, "Oh, I gotta see that," you know?
Right, right.
Like,
I'm running towards it, man. I'm
I-
taking as many
I-
photos as I can before I die.
I felt that so much when she said that. I was like, girl, I'm right there with you.
Nice. Yeah. For me, the favorite scene, this when the American bombers are trying to hit the back of Godzilla.
Yeah.
And it just shoots out that giant spray of lasers into the sky. That I did not expect that to happen
That
at
was
all.
cool.
First time I saw this, I was like, "Wow, that's cool."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
What a-
he can't do that in any of the other movies, as far as I'm aware.
But that shows the evolution because
Yeah, it
none
shows
of
the evolution.
None of the other movies did he evolve like 10 times.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I was
He's
like,
just
they're totally taking a
a new approach.
no. Well, I was gonna say they're taking like a thing from Akira Toriyama, where it's like, this isn't even my final form yet.
Right.
Like,
Oh, yeah, it is kind of Akira. It is kind of Akira, yeah, which also was about
no, Akira
the-
Toriyama, sweetie.
oh,
He's
oh.
the creator of like Dragon Ball Z and
oh, okay, different Akira. Never mind.
not Akira the movie, Akira Toriyama, the creator.
As I said, I am not a Dragon Ball Z fan, so that went right over my head. So
That was
I
more
do
for
see
Seth.
the Akira link in here, though. I do like the
Yeah.
it's in there, yeah.
the visuals for sure.
Yeah, I've said this to you guys off air. The one thing I don't like in the remake is I don't care for the design of Godzilla's mouth. I
Aw,
don't
man.
like the.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
like this. He looks like a predator. I don't like the look of it. It's not. No. It looks fine. It's just not my thing.
Well,
I like how he's trying to charge up for his breath though. It's like it
Yeah.
shoots out fire,
Yeah.
then it becomes a laser, and then it powers down to fire again. Then he freezes. Like that's cool. I just don't care for the mouth splitting in half. I just don't.
Yeah, it's a weird design. I think that's the hints as to what the future they wanted to take him into outer space and make him a little
Mhm.
more predator like is honestly probably apt if they plan
Yeah.
to take him into outer space.
That is a fair point. That is
Yeah.
a fair point.
Godzilla versus Predator.
God damn.
I remember that book that I was
Big
telling you
game
about.
hunter. Ah!
Oh Jesus! Remember that book I was telling you about? Was it Underdeveloped? That book of canceled film projects
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. So
Mm.
there was a Adam West Batman versus Godzilla movie in development at one point.
What?
Yes, this was a thing. It was an undeveloped script. Yeah, it's a book
You
that's
were
about.
robbed.
Yeah, it's a book about various scripts that never got produced over the years. There's like Guillermo del Toro's At the Mountains of Madness, John Carpenter's Escape from Earth, the third of the Snake Plissken films, and it goes into detail about all these various projects.
And
Yeah.
Ghost
There
of
was
Mars.
supposed, sort of, there was a plan to do an Adam West Batman versus Godzilla movie, and it didn't come to fruition.
Sometimes
So.
you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Or the bomb. So. Oh God. So with regards to the original film, the ending, the way in which they dispose of him, does that work for you guys? The fact that they just evaporate him?
It made me distraught as a child, I won't lie.
It's definitely odd. It's the magic potion solution. That's the one thing I don't care for. It's not really science. It's very much like it's a thing we invented for the movie. Whereas the remake, that's a little more practical. You know, it feels like that's something you could do.
Well,
Freezing
you
him.
also have to think like technology and like, I mean, an example I'll say is you look at early Star Trek, original Star Trek,
Good
Yeah,
point.
they just
and they
make
have
up shit in order to actually,
right, but not only that, but the things that like we thought would never happen and is totally futuristic, we have now.
It's true.
So it's an age thing.
Hmm. Yeah, we
I-
have like video screens. We have where we can talk to each other. We have tablets we can use for
Right. So
talking to each other. Yeah.
like that doesn't bother me as much that they like made up this magic potion, whatever. Like obviously we're talking about God's Gojira, like
Mm.
it's already this magical mythical creature thing, It's not like they're jumping too far out of the box.
Yeah.
This feels like a precursor to Star Trek in that kind of they shout a bunch of science stuff out at you to get you to
Right.
feel like the realism of it. This is pre really realism as an idea on film either. That's not even a philosophy that's people are going for at this point. So it's so before so many things. I can forgive a lot of it
Exactly.
for the end to be like, oh yeah, I guess we got to get rid of him somehow. We don't want people to walk away thinking like, oh, is Godzilla going to come back? Now that's all we want, right? Now we're just happy to hear
Yeah.
his heartbeat
I mean-
at the end of -1.
Right after this movie, they did the Return of Godzilla. Godzilla
Mhm.
Raids Again, which came out April 24th, 1955. That's and this one came out October 27th, 1954. That's that's a little over a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they brought him back pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, it did
yeah.
amazingly, not only
Oh yeah, it
domestically
was
but
huge.
internationally.
Yeah,
So
this-
like of course they're gonna be like, yeah, let's ride this train.
Yeah, to the point where wasn't there an American re-edit of the film?
Yes.
I've never
It was
never seen
from,
the
like,
American
the
re-edit.
American's point of view, and they like inserted an American person in, and like it was.
Oh, I've
never,
seen that cut before. Yeah, because he gets
kinda
attacked
like-
in his hotel room at the end, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like what we do with Power Rangers, the Super Sentai series. We take the original fighting footage and we put American actors into new scenes, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where that started.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Listen,
great.
they were smart enough to put everybody behind masks so they could voice it over later in dub.
Yeah.
Worked out great for everybody.
Everybody's happy.
Well,
Yeah.
production wise, it sucked for the actors.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Again, these
Yeah.
suits are not fun to wear, everybody.
Yeah. There's also residuals issues. A lot of the actors on
okay.
the American version did not get paid very well.
Oh
Nope.
God, fuck Saban, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
dude, yeah.
screwed those actors
Yeah.
royally.
Why do you think all those Power Rangers actors do so many conventions?
Right?
Yeah. So,
But thankful for the fans to keep them afloat.
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe one day, just out of morbid curiosity, I'll put the Power Rangers movie versus the 2017 Power Rangers movie on here, just to make you all miserable.
I loved Ivan Ooze. I loved the 90s parachuting into rollerblading montage.
I've never seen that one. I did see the new one, and it was pretty okay. I
You
didn't hate
never
it.
saw like OG Power Rangers, like
Okay.
the movie?
I had brothers, and we would be violent if we watched violent things, so we weren't allowed to watch anything like that.
Bro, okay, we're having a watch party of
Oh
Power
gosh.
Rangers the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's out. It's supposed to take place between seasons. That's a lie. It's its own thing. It's its own continuity because they just redid the same story on the TV show with a new excuse for everything. So it's its own. Also, the Megazord in that is like tiny by comparison to what it actually is in the show. It's like the show is like the size of a building. They're like 25 feet tall. It's small.
Whatever. I love it. It's my
Whatever.
childhood. Shut up.
Whatever. It's a totally different topic. We're not there. We're not talking about that. But anyways, so Shin Godzilla, the way in which they get rid of him, they freeze him. That seems more practical to me. And I that final image, perfect. And then of course
That
there's the hint.
statue, yeah.
Yeah, the statue just frozen in the middle of the city. Like it's the threat is gone, but the impending belief that there will be another threat down the line is still
Yeah.
there.
Well,
Like,
it's
like what are you
also-
gonna do with this body? It's sitting in the middle of the city. You can't get rid of it.
Well,
It's just
also, it's a total metaphor of like, okay, the bomb is gone now, but you still see like the outlines of people evaporate. You still see the destruction. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like a metaphor of like, oh shit, yeah, this happened. It's
Yeah.
a reminder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's deep down it's a grim story, but it's because it's covered up with the fact that it's a kaiju. You can have that kind of like childlike wonderment of like, oh yeah, it's just a monster movie. You can see
Mhm.
it on multiple levels, which is why this franchise has continued to exist for 70 years at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Godzilla
And it's
will
not
never
stopping.
stop. As long as there are movies, there will be Godzilla. I promise.
Always will be Godzilla. So yeah, going into this episode, I knew it was going to be like, yeah, both are great. There's no reason to not watch either one of them. They're both fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Shin. I was telling everybody to watch Shin Godzilla when it came out. It was like my one to ride, and then -1 comes out and gets all the attention. So I'm happy to be on a podcast to like talk about. I think it edges out for me. I like Shin Godzilla just a little more than -1.
Yeah, that's fair.
Are you
That's
gonna?
fair. It's
I
yeah.
don't know. I mean, you are carrying -1 baby, so are you cheating on
Yeah,
Shin
that's right.
Godzilla
Yeah.
with?
Listen, unless -1 is gonna send me, some child support, I'm available. I'm open to dating any Godzilla movie. I just watched Final Wars for the first time and fucking loved it. So maybe that's
Oh,
my
Final
new
Wars is so
favorite.
good. I love Final Wars. That one's so good.
There's no wrong answer. If somebody told me that their favorite one was like one of the goofy ones with the Mothra twins, hell yeah, that's the best one. Then they're all the right answer.
Yeah, no, Godzilla's Godzilla. Like it's you either love it or you love it.
The only blasphemy I won't stand for is people saying Gareth Edwards' Godzilla is better than the original. I heard way too many people say that, and they were not correct. But that's the only blasphemy I won't stand. If somebody's like, it is my favorite one, I won't say no. But if they say it's better than the original, that's when I'm like, oh, you're a liar.
Yeah.
No. No. Also worth noting that the the 2014 movie, when they released it on DVD and Blu-ray, they screwed up the excuse me, the color temperature, and they screwed up the the contrast. So it's incredibly dark looking now.
Mm.
And they were supposed to fix it, and they never did. So if you want to watch it now, whenever the fight scenes are happening at nighttime, it's just like weird shapes on the screen
That
punching each other.
sucks.
It looks like crap. It's yeah. They took a really good looking movie and just like threw it into like a vat of ink.
Ew.
It's like it's ugly to look
Ew.
at now. It's really not good. So
Damn.
yeah, I know people are going to ask, well, why didn't you put the 2014 movie on here? Well, because we kind of covered it with King of the Monsters on Film Rescue. You want to hear what our thoughts about that? Go listen to that.
That
episode.
2014 movie's not a remake either. Like
It's not.
that's
It's its own
that's a
thing.
It's
hard
kind of its own
sell.
thing. It's kind of
Yeah.
its own
Also,
thing.
the American version, like whereas original Godzilla and Shin Godzilla are original Japanese.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
No,
as for
this was the
98
correct
Gods,
way.
yeah. And as for 98 Godzilla, go fucking die in a fire, asshole. Just fuck off.
Anywho.
We covered that in a quick fix on the YouTube channel. Go watch that. So yeah, two great movies. No reason to not watch either one of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a kaiju movie a month is like I try to get one in a month.
One in a month? Really?
Yeah, I try to watch a kaiju movie a month.
Okay.
There's so many that you can just choose.
That's true. There are a lot. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Not even
I thought about-
movies, but TV shows too. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. I never did finish that Pacific Rim TV show, that cartoon. Is that any good? Did that finish up pretty well?
I'm trying to remember if I finished it. I know I watched the first episode or so.
Yeah.
I did watch the first season of it.
Okay.
I feel like it was open ended, but
Yeah. Well, Pacific Rim is now a dead franchise. So
anywho, what's next, Jesse?
next one, this one's for you, Hope. Maniac.
She's a
We're covering Maniac.
Maniac.
Yeah. The original versus the remake. The remake is bizarre and weird as hell.
I've never
It's awful.
seen either.
Yeah, so it's going to be a surprise for you, the differences between the two.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they're
What-
completely different
what
in
order should I
a
watch
good
them?
way. Original then remake.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, the original has the second best head explosion in film history.
Is Scanners the first one?
Scanners is the first.
I was just
but
about to say.
Scanners is number 1. Maniac is number 2.
Nice.
Yes. So yeah, there you go. Godzilla, folks. Go watch them. Go get them. Yeah. I might just put in that theme at the end to wrap up the episode.
Yes.
It is the best monster theme ever.
Agreed.
So.
Hands down.
Yeah. And with that, good night.
Good night.
Good night. Hey Jesse, would you grab me a fresco?
That
That was a fresco.
That was fantastic.
Oh my god. Oh, someone did it. Somebody did it.
The great
Fucking shit.
drink.
Fuck.
Oh my fucking Christ. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Fresco.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Deadpool approves. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm sure somewhere in my family line is a famous painter that probably created that. That's why my last name is what it is.
I
So.
love it.